Hey there smartphone fans, welcome back to Smartphone Wars. And if you have been patiently waiting for my full in-depth Oppo REALME 1 or F7 Youth as it's called in other regions and Helio P60 review, it's finally here. I wanted to spend some more time with the phone to actually do review and more time with the Helio P60, but now I'm gonna just lay it all out for you. Is the Oppo REALME good, and is Helio P60 what you've been waiting for? First, on the Oppo REALME 1. This is a budget phone and it's all around $200 in India. As such, it's a magnificent device. It may not be made of metal or glass, but the plastic, it's really high quality. It takes me back to the good old plastic flagship days of the LG G2 and G3, and I really think plastic should come back in style because it's really good phone. It's solid, it's well built, and thanks to the plastic, it's light. It's a budget phone, so it does have a compromise. It doesn't have a back fingerprint scanner, and it doesn't have a USB Type-C. It just rocks the micro USB port, but it has a wonderful 5.99 Full HD plus really nice LCD display. And the back is one of the stars of the Oppo REALME 1 with its shuttered glass style, and it reflects like in a very beautiful, again, like shuttered mirror way. Really cool way to break up an old design, and it's something you don't see every day when everybody just copies one another. So really good for Oppo, really good for the consumer, and it's a device that actually appeals to both sexes. I really like it, my wife really likes it, and it looks good on a man or a woman. It just, the design hits all the right places. So does the call quality. I rarely say this, especially for budget phones, but the Oppo REALME 1 had exceptional, really good call quality. The speaker was loud, clear, and really good quality. The software experience for Color OS is rather different, but if you use a lot of Chinese phones, you get used to it. I mentioned the phone doesn't have a back fingerprint scanner, but it has a lightning fast Face ID unlock, and I'm serious, it's like one of the best I've ever tried. It can even compete with like $500 phones, but not having a back fingerprint scanner means that in really low light situations you have to go back to inputting your PIN or trying a pattern to unlock your phone at night. So it's really good, but there are some compromises to be made. What about performance? Well, the Color OS is built on top of Android 8.1 Oreo, and Android 8.1 Oreo is really refined, and I'm talking about it takes advantage of the multi-core structure of the Helio P60 really well. Apps open instantaneously, switching between apps is super fast, and the general user experience operating the Oppo REALME 1 is really close to, say, like a OnePlus 5 or a OnePlus 5T. You almost feel like you're rocking a $300-400 flagship CPU when you're using the Oppo REALME 1. The phone also supports gesture navigation, and it's done quite well, very responsive, and really there is no need to use on-screen buttons on the Oppo REALME 1. The only thing I didn't like about the software experience was that it was too iOS like, and I had to like delete notifications, but basically that was it. It was smooth, and it was like most of Chinese devices. Another ace up Oppo's sleeve is the Real Sound technology, which is a built-in audio codec that delivers much better sound quality when you put really quality headphones in, and this is like pushing the Oppo REALME 1 in a competition of its own because no budget device offers that, and the speaker quality was again equally as impressive. Moving on to the Oppo REALME 1 display. Again, budget concerned, this is not an AMOLED panel, it's an LCD display. It has higher than Full HD resolution, and it's really good. Saturation is really good, the blacks are very deep, there's a good color angle, but what I really like about it is the natural and lifelike colors that pop out. Nothing is really oversaturated or undersaturated, and colors look as they would actually in real live for watching media, definitely YouTube and high resolution videos. I would have to say the Oppo Realme One is definitely the best $200 device on the market, and especially when it comes to sunlight visibility. The LCD display, although it may not look like it from the videos you're seeing, has a really high brightness level, and even in direct sunlight on the sunniest day you can still see what you're doing, something that a lot of phones really can't brag about. Now on to battery life. The 6-inch display has a 3400 mAh battery, which is good for around 6 to 7 hours of really heavy usage on a single day. Is the Oppo Realme One the battery monster like the Redmi Note 5? No. Is the battery life good? Yes. Is it excellent? No. It's generally good for a full day of really heavy usage and then you have to charge it, or for like medium 2 days of usage, but that's about it. But where it counts, like playing full HD YouTube videos, streaming from the internet for like an hour, the battery drain is really decent. So for me, the only thing that I really didn't like was that the background drain on this phone was a bit too much, and I believe it's not the Helio P60 but the Oppo ColorOS system behind it that needs a bit of fine tuning. About charging, the phone comes with a 10-watt charger, but it's good to charge the full phone in around an hour and 40-45 minutes. You get around 35% of charge in just 30 minutes, but the plus side is the phone doesn't get hot while charging. Now on to the performance segment and the Helio P60 full review. When it comes to benchmarks, the Helio P60, like Antutu here, is pitted just below the Snapdragon 660 but higher than the Snapdragon 636. However, the CPU score and user experience from the Helio P60 has been absolutely amazing. This is the best general usage chip you can get right now. It's blazing fast, opening, closing apps and doing your daily tasks, and especially with browsing. But it has a weaker side, which is the GPU. The Mali G72 tri-core GPU is really not up to a task playing games in the high settings. I mean, you can turn the heavy FPS games like this one I'm showing here, which is World War Heroes, but the frame rates are a bit sluggish. Move that to medium or average settings and the game really flies. The Helio P60, if I compare to the Helio P23 example, which has a 2-core Mali GPU inside, the difference between them is like 20%. You can still get really good high frame rates on like 3D fighters and car racing simulators with good frame rates on the Helio P60, but it really doesn't hold a candle to the Snapdragon 660's Adreno 510 GPU, and I'm talking about like half the frame rates. PUBG Mobile is fully playable with really decent frame rates on the balanced settings. Move that higher and you'll experience frequent frame drops. I'm glad to report that the Helio P60 didn't have any overheating issues. The phone got to around 40 degrees, even around 15-16 minutes of gaming, which is normal and as good as any Snapdragon device on the market. It's a shame that the Mali G72 GPU with its tri-core variant is just not as good as the Snapdragon 660 and probably just below par the Snapdragon 636. Moving on to the cameras. There is no dual camera setup, nor on the front or on the back, and there is no optical electronic image stabilization, and it's like 8 and 13 megapixel sensors front and back, and it's f2.2. When you look at the specs, I was expecting the camera to be really subpar. However, thanks to the Helio P60's vastly improved ISP and the Sony IMX519, which is the sensor behind the Oppo Realme One, the Realme One is a really good camera phone. I wasn't expecting this, but in general, like good lighting conditions, the camera was as good and perhaps taking pictures faster than the Redmi Note 5 and the Meizu E3, which is a phenomenal feat considering the sensor is much smaller. But as I said, with combination of the new Android, the new ISP with the Helio P60, the results were staggering. HDR shots were taken on the spot, there was no delay. You still have that portrait mode effect, but it's done with software. However, it's done really well with the Oppo Realme One. I was absolutely pleased with the camera experience on this phone, especially given the low price. the really good performance of the Helio P60, and frankly, the under-spec'd camera sensors on both sides. It goes to show that with good software optimizations, with really good lenses, and with proper sensors, you can get a lot more out of a camera than other manufacturers can. And there was also like really cool things with the camera. You can like add stickers to it, which I had a real cool time with my wife and kid as well. Moving on to low light shots, again, the phone performed really well. Picture taking was snappy. There was less noise than the Redmi Note 5. There was a bit less detail, but that is to be expected of the really small sensor because it's an f2.2 sensor compared to the Redmi Note 5's 1.9. Overall, I would say that you would have to be a really camera enthusiast to differentiate between the Realme 1 and Redmi Note 5, and this is some feed by Oppo in the small camera sensor here. The video quality was a bit shaky, but again the quality was really there. To conclude, the Oppo Realme 1, is it worth the money? Yes, more than yes. It's a very good budget phone. It's fast, it's beautiful, it's light, it's a bit unique, and it doesn't brag about dual cameras and stuff like that. It has a better audio than most phones, even at higher price points. The camera punch much above its weight. It's a decent gaming phone if you don't mind lowering the settings a little bit, and it does deliver outstanding flagship CPU and daily driver performance at a sub price point. The only cons for the micro USB are the slightly not as good battery life as I was hoping, but it more than makes up for it with price, cameras and performance and the unique style. So this has been it for my Oppo Realme 1 review. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it and subscribe to my channel to keep smartphone reviews honest.